You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. When it comes to discussing R. Kelly's legal battles, there's no doubt that the case has become one of the most high-profile in recent history. With a career that spanned decades and racked up millions in record sales, R. Kelly's legal situation has attracted massive attention from everywhere across the globe. This has also seen the world learn just exactly how crooked the US justice system is, and how shoddily they carry out their operations. In other words, our nation has been exposed through this legal battle against Robert Sylvester Kelly. It's undeniable the allegations against him may look quite serious, and if he was truly guilty of all the alleged crimes, we wouldn't be wasting time making these arguments, as it's important to punish crime as should be. However, as with any case of this magnitude, it's important to consider all aspects surrounding the trial, including the interests of powerful entities involved. In this particular episode, we will delve into the complexities of the delayed appeal verdict in R. Kelly's case, examining the potential influence of corporate interests like Sony Records, and why it is crucial to look at this situation from every angle before rushing to conclusions. Let's start by addressing the delay in the New York appeal verdict. First, it is important to acknowledge the fact that legal cases of this magnitude do not operate on a quick match timetable. Appeals are designed to be thorough and exhaustive, requiring judges to review vast amounts of evidence, legal arguments and precedents. This is especially true in high-profile cases like R. Kelly's, where the stakes are incredibly high for the defendant, who has everything to lose if the judges get it wrong somewhere. A delay in an appeal verdict isn't uncommon in such complex cases. The appeals process can take several months, sometimes even years, as judges sift through every detail of the case. Furthermore, appeals courts must ensure that the trial was conducted fairly, with all parties having the opportunity to present their case. In the case of R. Kelly, his defense team has argued that there were in fact several issues during his original trial that need to be addressed. Given the weight of the case, it's no surprise that a decision is not being rushed. And this causes us to wonder whether the same care was applied while deliberating upon the Chicago appeal, which appeared rushy, explaining the inaccuracies in the final court decision. Perhaps if the Chicago appeal judges had equally taken their time to critically analyze what the law says on matters of retroactive ex post facto laws, and also studied the sentencing guidelines more critically, they would have done the right thing, which was to acquit the defendant. However, much as we cannot directly associate the delays with any form of conspiracies, we cannot rule out that the interest big corporations may have in this case may call for the judicial officers to play delay tactics while planning an overthrow of the Constitution in favor of the government. And this brings us to the elephant in the room, which is the influence of corporate entities like Sony Records on this case. Corporate interests, particularly from powerful entities like Sony, may be influencing the direction of the case. As a major stakeholder in R. Kelly's career, Sony has a vested interest in the outcome of his legal battles. There's a financial incentive for them to see Kelly convicted, as his conviction ensures that any future music sales and licensing deals would be more easily controlled. Imagine if you were a corporate giant like Sony, with deep pockets and an interest in acquiring lucrative assets. As R. Kelly's legal troubles mount, the value of his music catalog may start to plummet. For a company like Sony, which has been closely associated with Kelly's music for years, this devaluation represents a golden opportunity to purchase his rights at a drastically reduced price. Sony has been in the business of buying music catalogs for years. In fact, the company has a history of acquiring the rights to iconic music collections, sometimes from artists who are no longer in the public eye, like they did deceased Michael Jackson, or in some cases whose reputation has been irreparably damaged. By strategically positioning R. Kelly's music as financially toxic, they could eventually swoop in and purchase the catalog for a fraction of its market value. If this is indeed what's happening behind the scenes, it would be a bombshell revelation of corporate manipulation. It's also easier for the corporation to distance itself from a convicted criminal after cheating him of his precious music, and therefore an advantage for them if he is in prison. The question then becomes, does Sony's influence extend beyond the boardroom into the courtroom? The reality is that major corporations like Sony have resources at their disposal that could indirectly shape the public narrative surrounding high-profile legal cases. Negative media portrayals, public campaigns to discredit the defendant, and pressure on the legal system to act in their favor are all tools that could influence the outcome of a trial. Even if there may be no direct involvement in the court's decision-making, the media environment surrounding the case is undeniably influenced by corporate interests that benefit from portraying R. Kelly in a certain light. R. Kelly's attorney has made some compelling arguments throughout the case. And one of the strongest points raised by the defense is the question of whether the charges against Kelly were fueled by a media-driven moral panic. R. Kelly's lawyer has pointed out that there have been inconsistencies in witness testimony and questionable legal tactics used to convict Kelly in the first place. She argues that the trial was clouded by outside influences, particularly the media, and the overwhelming pressure to convict someone whose reputation had already been tarnished. One of the most critical aspects of the defense is the issue of consent and the complexities surrounding relationships and power dynamics. A fair trial should be based on facts and evidence rather than public opinion or preemptive judgments. By attacking the media narrative and focusing on the legal inconsistencies, Kelly's attorney has brought forward a strong argument that raises doubts about the fairness of the conviction. The defense also points out that R. Kelly has not been given a fair opportunity to fully present his case in court, especially in relation to the new evidence and key witnesses that could significantly alter the course of the trial. At the heart of R. Kelly's case is the question of whether justice can be fairly served when corporate power is involved. While the courts are supposed to be impartial, the reality is that outside forces can sometimes exert pressure on the legal system. In high-profile cases like Kelly's, it's easy for the lines between justice and corporate interest to become blurred. A guilty verdict for Kelly could therefore send a message that corporations can control the fate of an individual. But what is most important here is that justice and not corporate agendas should guide the decision-making process. The courts must be fair to both the victims of alleged crimes and the accused, ensuring that both sides are given an equal opportunity to present their case. If there is evidence that R. Kelly's conviction was influenced by powerful external parties, then the case should be revisited thoroughly in order to ensure that the rule of law is upheld. If you want to be featured in our video releases, send us your clips by emailing them to hnnewsroom242@gmail.com or use Google Drive for larger files. Be sure to include your name and any details you'd like us to know. We can't wait to showcase your contributions. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.